My name's Andy, and today on behalf of Parkinson'S Care and Support UK, I'm going to take you through a 25-minute exercise routine which is using a bendable. This exercise routine will be suitable for any other ball that you may happen to have around the house, although my one is slightly deflated, which is helpful when it comes to working with our grip skills. So just before we start using the ball, let's warm our bodies up. So I'm going to shuffle forward to the first half or third of the chair, and I'm going to sit with my chest lifted very slightly, nice and tall in the chair. And the first thing I'm going to do to get my arm muscles moving is to cross and open my arms. Sitting up nice and tall, my feet are flat on the ground, although you can't see them terribly well today. My feet are flat on the ground and my toes are facing forwards. I always think that when I do this exercise against the wall behind me with the lights on, it gives me a number of arms, and I'm sure that would be useful in my day-to-day life. To have an extra pair of arms would mean twice as many things done. Always makes me smile. Cross and open your arms. So throughout these exercises I'm going to remain sat tall in the chair, and I'm going to breathe normally, but I'm going to keep an eye on my tummy muscles staying nice and stable to support me sitting away from the back of the chair. And that in itself activates and challenges those muscles around the centre of my body. Let's do a little bit of warming of the legs then. So I'm going to lift one heel followed by the other. A bit like we are starting to jog. Lovely. And if I want to add some shoulder mobility in there, I might pretend that I'm brushing my hair, or indeed going for a swim. So I'm pushing out at shoulder height, maybe slightly higher, and we could add a little bit of grip work, finger dexterity if you like. So if I splay my hand out as I reach, then close my fist and draw in, splay, fist and draw, splay, fist and draw. Looks like some sort of funky dance we might have been doing in the 70s. And we will go on to do a little bit of grip work in this routine, and that will help us do the fiddly little jobs in our day-to-day lives, things like doing up buttons, gripping pens, perhaps even doing zips and those sorts of things. Those tiny little jobs that we've got to do when we have to grip things between our fingers. Okay, going back to combing hair, over the top and down the back, sitting up nice and tall. And I'm continuing to lift my heels as we go here, and so I'm challenging my coordination, firing pathways between muscles and brain, bottom half and top half of the body working together to keep our brain fit as much as our body. Okay, let's go for our reaching forward, pulling back. Keep going with the heel lifting. I'm feeling that in my quadricep muscles today, front upper thigh muscles, believe it or not. Okay, moving on from here. Let's go to box step 1, 2, 3 and 4. So it's step forward, forward, back and back. Forward, forward, back and back. Forward, back and back. Two, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then we can take the arm out to the side if we want to. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Out, out, back and back. Out, out, back and back. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Excellent. So moving on, we've got our bender ball here. I'm very conscious that this ball is a very similar colour to my t-shirt, so I might take you round and show you the exercise sideways against a black wall, and perhaps that will help you to see the exercises better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by turning the ball in my fingertips. So I'm using the fingertips themselves to grip the ball. And let's do that sideways so you can see what's happening. I'm turning the ball and I'm gripping with my fingertips as I do it. And then once we've done that a good few times, we can go backwards. Just show you what that looks like slightly closer up. So I'm turning the ball in my hands as I do it, and I'm using my fingertips to grip, and then I'll change direction. Should have bought a different coloured bender ball, shouldn't I? Excellent. Okay, change direction, back the other way. Excellent. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is take one hand below the ball and one hand above, and I'm going to roll the ball over my hands. Do that more closely for you. So one hand underneath the ball, one hand over, and I'm rolling here. These exercises are very good for our grip and for our wrists. Also feels quite nice, to be honest. Feels like you're giving the hands a bit of a massage, a bit of love. If you haven't got a bender ball like this, perhaps you've got another ball which you can deflate slightly, or you can just use a fully inflated ball. You could also use perhaps a child's toy, certainly for the one where you're using your fingertips. So there are always options around what you can use. You don't necessarily have to use the same piece of equipment that I do. And what you could even do is roll a tea towel, holding the tea towel here. You could kind of create that sort of movement, and you could even just scrunch it up into a ball and turn it. That would work fine as well. For today I'm using a bender ball. This is traditionally a Pilates ball, but I quite like to use it for a bit of fun. You can see as you get more confident that it becomes easier and we can change direction. And if you want a real challenge, we'll do one each way round. Forward and backwards, forwards and backwards. And when I teach this in a class, quite often the ball gets dropped and there's lots of apologies. You're not dropping the crown jewels. It doesn't matter if the ball drops, pick it up. Just make sure that when you collect it, you are safe and you're not going to fall over. backwards, forwards and backwards. Okay, next thing we're going to do is simply throw the ball up in the air, and we're going to catch it, we're going to push forward. Okay, throw up in the air, forward, back, throw, forward and back, throw, forwards and backwards, throw, forwards, backwards. And if we're feeling a bit more adventurous, perhaps we can throw the ball forwards, backwards, side, side. Throw the ball forwards, backwards, side, middle, side. Throw forwards, backwards, side, middle, side. Nice and gently with the movements. Perhaps you don't come quite so far to the side. Perhaps you just come over one knee, for instance. Up the ball, forward, backward, side, middle, side. 3 more times. Up into the air, forward, backward, side, middle, side. Forwards, backwards, side, middle, side. Last time. Forwards, backwards, side, middle, side. Okay. Let's do a little bit more work with the legs now. So I'm going to touch the ball twice on each side. 1 and 2, swap, 1 and 2, swap, 1 and 2, swap, 1 and 2, swap. Tummy muscles working here. 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. So for variety, we could come across from one shoulder to the opposite knee. So 1 and 2. Just gives us a slightly different movement to think about. Core muscles working all of the time. Let's do 4 more of those. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Swap. Over to the other side. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Swap back. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Swap. Tummy muscles working all the time, trying to keep the back nice and straight. And 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Excellent. And moving on from here, the next thing we're going to do is to challenge the brain further. I'm going to start by rising and lowering the ball. And then this gets slightly trickier in a moment. Raise and lower. So the ball's raising and lowering in the left side, on the left hand, left arm. And I'm then going to write some numbers with my right arm. So if we start with a number 1, that's quite simple. Number 2. And the challenge here is to keep the ball rising and falling as we create those numbers. 5. As you can see, that's a challenge. 6. Just intended to be a bit of fun. 7. 8 might work quite nicely. Number 9. You'll notice the numbers with the straight lines are easiest. And then 10. We ended up with 2 zeros then. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Just a little bit of light fun with this one. Raising and lowering. Starting with our numbers. Let's have a go, see what we get. 1 and 2. 3. That one's always tricky. 4. 5. 6, 7, 8, 9. Hold on, we nearly got 2 9s then, and 10. Just a little bit of fun. Okay, moving on from there. Let's pass the ball around the back of the body. So I shuffle forward slightly, and we're just starting to challenge some of the shoulder mobility here. Going round again. We could then change direction. And as I reach across my back, you will see that these chest muscles open and widen, and they shorten in the upper back. So from there, we could take that to the next stage. We could go under one knee, over, and create an 8. Under and over. Always reminds me of a basketball movement, this one. And change direction, go round the other way. Excellent, well done. And swap again, change direction. And then we could play with trying to do that once round each way. So going round into an 8 once, come to the centre, go back the other way. Takes a little bit of concentration, this one. Useful to have a camera in front of you so you can see what movement you're performing, what movement you're creating. Excellent job. So just a little bit of fun. As I said earlier, if you want to do this with maybe a small cuddly toy or similar, then by all means do. It doesn't have to be a ball that you're working with, but something relatively small that you can pass underneath your body. Excellent. Lovely job. Okay, so from here, let's go on to cooling down. And the first thing you're going to do is hug whatever that item is that you've been working with. So literally tuck my arms around, tuck my fingertips around into the big upper back muscles. And I'm hugging the ball. It's a bit like you're bear hugging. Okay. And that will give you a stretch across the upper back muscles. By the same token, we can take the ball behind us and squeeze our shoulder blades back and down. And so again, we're stretching through the chest with this one. And then we'll take the ball onto one leg, straighten out, coming forward and down, keeping this extended leg nice and straight, feeling the stretch from the back of the calf, lower portion back of the knee, back of the leg, lower portion of the leg, up to the hamstring. And I'm going to swap sides. Again, nice straight back, toes lifted, hamstring stretching, back of the glute, the butt cheek down towards the knee. And then I've also got the calf contracted because the toes lifted. And relax. Next thing I'm going to do is work the fingertips forward with the ball. So you'll see fingertips progressing on my right side and then left, rolling the ball between the two hands. Great exercise for stretching across the upper back. Well done. Take the ball above the head and back down behind me, so bending the elbows and above. Bend, extend. And 2 and 1. Well done. Next one we're going to do, take the ball down to one side, touch, pass over the top, touch down, over the top, touch down. And I can make that a bit tougher by taking this arm overhead, or I can just leave that hand to come down by my side. Okay, moving on from here, I'm going to turn the ball around my head. So I'm going to go round in one direction and then I'm going to go back round the other way. And then I swap into the other hand, round the head, change direction, go back round the other way. Change direction. So all of these exercises are just to mobilise and challenge you with slightly different movements. Okay, so the ball goes underneath the chair, and from here let's go to stretching the shoulder. So we bring the hand across the body, wrist to wrist, and pull in, looking over the shoulder being stretched. So in my case I'm looking to the right. Now I relax down and then I swap across the body, pull in nice and tight, looking the other way. Let's do that once more. Cross the body, pull in and look. Cross the body, pull in and look. And then we go on to triceps, lifting the elbow up nice and gently. And then we move to the other side. And from here we'll go to back relaxer, hands onto the thighs, walking down towards the knees, curling round and down. And then walk your hands from your knees back towards your hip bones, lift your chest, walk down again for me. Hands progress down towards the knees, curling round and down, tucking the chin in, allowing the spine to relax. And walk the hands back up towards your hips, sitting nice and tall. So there is your bendable routine, lasting around 25 minutes. A great way to add a little bit of variety into your workout and to challenge the joints, the muscles and the brain and muscle memory to do different movements. My name is Andy Payne, teaching on behalf of Parkinson'S Care and Support UK. Thank you for joining me. I hope to see you again soon.